All right, we are live for week 14 of the Laemmle League. And without further ado, here's our commissioner, Eric Patton.
Hello, Laemmle Leaguers, and hello, Mike D. Thank you once again for having me into the Mike D podcast multiverse. And is it just me, or have we entered the next level with this podcast, Mike D? What is up with the new format?
Live. This is a live. You got to do one every season. You got to go live like ER or House or, all those top 10 shows that
Bill
you
Riley.
see.
Fuck it, let's do it live, right?
Yeah, let's do it live.
Right. Whew. All right. Well, I'm pumped up, Mike D. I'm fired up, more so than usual because we have a special guest joining the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, no other than the treasurer of your league, Caitlin Kleppinger.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome, Treasurer Kleppinger, to the program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us, and great intro, Mike.
Thank you. And we have one viewer, so welcome, viewer. It could be me.
Hey, all right. Welcome, viewer. It's good to have you here. We're doing this for you. For you. Right. Is it AppTed? It might be AppTed, right? He subscribes.
He can.
What a week. The reason Caitlin specifically is joining us because she was part of this wild week that decided the playoff picture for the Laemmle League. And Mike D, I don't know how close of attention you were paying, but it was just insanity.
It was. I was nervous. I knew I was going to lose, and then I saw your matchup, and it was tight. And it was a strange week, that's for sure.
It was indeed. Caitlin, how you're a busy person. You have much more of a life than myself or Mike D. I don't know if you're hanging on every moment of the Sunday action the way we are, or what is your Sunday ritual like? Are you watching the games?
I don't usually watch all of the games. I'll usually pick one or two that I have people in to watch. And I frankly turned off everything because it was a little stressful this week, and I just walked away from my phone. So I didn't watch this happen, which is the only consolation I've got right now.
That is something you can lean on. You don't have that visual in your memory playing on any sort of loop or anything, and that can happen. Now, for the one viewer who's watching, if you're unfamiliar, we went into the week 14 of the Laemmle League season with one playoff spot still up for grabs to be decided between three teams. Treasurer Kleppinger here, as well as our normal co-host who has not been allowed back into the States just yet. We can talk about that a little later. It's getting to be kind of a troubling situation. Grant Peterson, as well as Team Jones, Curtis. So we're gonna let you know how it all unfolded. But Mike D, we couldn't have asked for a more dramatic ending to the regular season.
Yeah, that's what you want in the NFL, and it was like Baker Mayfield showed up for our league and just flew into town and won a game or something.
He was one of the great script writers of the season in week 14. An amazing game. Well, let's jump right into it. We've got a special guest with us right now. Let's not waste her time any longer and jump into the matchup that she was involved with. Caitlin needed this win. If Caitlin was in the driver's seat here between those three teams I already mentioned, had she won the game, she was in. That was it. It did points. None of that would have mattered. She would have been the winner, and she would have gotten that last spot. Well, let's not bury the lead. Let's talk about the craziness that how this game ended. It came down to Monday night. I had Ramondre Stevenson, and I was down by, I think it was about a point and a half going into Monday Night Football. Were you aware of the situation, Caitlin, going into Monday Night Football?
Yeah, I was. And then I had sort of planned to watch and am at a new job. And my boss was like, I need you to stay late. And I was like, that's maybe for the best. I tend to do better if I'm not actively watching it. So I thought, maybe I won't pay attention and it'll be fine. And then, I got home and checked my score and said some very colorful things.
Probably best you weren't watching. Now, the last playoff spot was not the only thing still to be decided here. With Caitlin's sister, Christy, losing earlier in the week, that meant that either myself or Parker would get the remaining bye, the number 2 seed and the remaining bye. I needed, with the way it broke down, I needed Ramondre Stevenson to score 24 points on Monday Night Football. And I would have gotten not only the victory in our matchup, but I would have gotten the number 2 seed and the first round bye. Ramondre's season high was 23. So it was a reach, but not impossible. For anyone who doesn't know, Ramondre got hurt on the seventh offensive play of the game. I think it was for the Patriots. Yes. At that time, right? Is that right, Mike D?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. At that time, he had given me enough fantasy football points to be half a point behind Caitlin, and he went out with an injury and was labeled questionable to return. Now
that sucks. That sucks for you, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Well, this was Caitlin's chance. I mean, this was like, you don't want anyone to get hurt, obviously, when you're watching fantasy football just for the benefit of your team. But the only way she was going to win is if Ramondre got hurt, because he just needed a couple, like 20 yards and he wins, So it was happening. It was happening. And then about a quarter and a half went by, and he came back in, and he was involved with one play. It was a dump off over the middle where he caught it and went for about 5 yards. So with the half point he got from the catch and the 5 yards, the half point that gave him, it was enough to knock Caitlin out of the playoffs right then and there with that one insignificant little play.
That's gotta hurt.
It does. It does. Thanks, Mike.
It's gotta hurt. But looking at the nothing you really could have done except for Evan. Evan, yeah,
right? Like,
who knows? He hasn't played that well all year.
Your tight end getting 30 points is a fucking fluke. So
yeah,
there was no way.
And Dalton Schultz has been good for you. It's not like you were, debating between the two, I assume.
No. If any, like the only one who's gone off at all this year for the most part has been Dalton. So it's really sort of, if anyone was going to do it, it was going to be him, I thought. But,
Have you even had Ingram for a long time, or had you just recently picked him up off waivers?
I picked him up off waivers, but I picked him up a while back for Dalton's bye week, and then just hung on to him because he did okay during the bye week. And I thought, just in case, Dalton gets injured or something else happens, I like to have a backup tight end because it's a specialty position and because, getting an okay tight end off the waivers is sort of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
So I held on to him and then just left him on the bench where he didn't do anything for me. So that's fun.
Yeah, I'm in the same position. I don't have a tight end, so it's whoever shows up. But I watched it. I was like, Evan Ingram, why is he catching? Why is he playing well?
Right. Well, there had been some hype around Ingram in the preseason because Doug Peterson uses tight ends a lot, and Ingram is incredibly talented. Big dude, can fly. So but hadn't shown anything like this. Previous high for the season was 13.5 fantasy points, and this week he turned in 33.7.
Oh wow!
15 targets. My God, that's Darren Waller. Like Travis Kelce kind of numbers.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, Caitlin.
I genuinely don't want to talk about it.
Well, okay, then I won't ask you at what point you realized that Ingram was going off.
I didn't until I was sort of casually checking things, but I wasn't checking my bench. And so I think it was like late on Sunday when I looked at it and I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Well, I mean, speaking of who knew, how about the game for Jerick McKinnon? I mean, 22 yards rushing. And that's funny because you just look at that and you're like, 22 yards, how did he get 28.9 fantasy points? You're like, you only must have caught a couple balls. Okay, 7 catches for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Bless
Yeah,
him.
he was going off. I have him in another league, and I was pleasantly surprised. And you know, you had Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball. So
Yeah, you love having a quarterback, running back, catching running back combo when they're having a good game. So
and
it's nice
another
to
thing
just
that
watch it.
yeah. Oh, that's always awesome. And another thing, because I know the Seahawks got 1 point. I was not expecting that.
Motherfucking Seahawks.
I'm a Seahawks fan, so I was like, "What the hell is going on, man? This is the Carolina Panthers."
Yeah,
Hey, you can't stand in the way of Sam Darnold.
Yeah, in the rant that was colorful after I realized I was losing, I said some angry things about the Seahawks.
I don't suppose you care to, recreate that rant for us here on the show. Do you, Caitlin?
Yeah.
The word motherfucker was about every other word.
Nice.
It was what's a good way of describing it? It was a Quentin Tarantino penned rant.
Ooh.
Okay.
But without, the racial slurs.
I wish I could bring up some music right now. Some Pulp Fiction music.
We'll get sued. We can't do it.
If we have any viewers, you can ask questions too in the YouTube chat, and I can pin them onto the live stream if you have any questions, Mr. One Viewer or Mrs. One Viewer.
What a world we're living in.
Or it could be a cat.
Patty Mahomes. I mean, 3 picks though. I mean, look, this is another thing. This game is so close. Mahomes goes for 352 yards and throws 3 touchdowns. But, Denver picks him off 3 times. One of those interceptions is the difference in our game. If Patrick Mahomes just throws fewer than 3 interceptions, you're in the playoffs. That's what this came down to.
I mean, it's just been such a weird year I've had so many injury issues. I can't tell you how many wide receivers I've been through this year. And so Patrick Mahomes is one of my only consistent performers and hasn't been injured all year. He just, picked this game to throw the ball to Denver a lot.
Yeah. It also didn't help you that, in this final week of the regular season, you were without your first round draft pick, or maybe second. I don't remember. Alvin Kamara was on a bye. Unfortunate timing to have those buys, a number of teams on the bye during this last week. Tough.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, that sucked. I mean, I was in a league, and I wonder if it's because they added an extra week, but there was one league I was like, why are you starting the playoffs on a bye on week 14? But that was quickly changed. But I would have made the same not poor decisions. I would have made my own poor decisions, and I would have picked up Seattle for defense. And I also would have got Boswell as a kicker because Pittsburgh is, they're a field goal team.
Right. So I thought, between the Seahawks and Boswell, I did enough research to think like I'm sort of stacking myself with my best options off the waiver wire for those spots.
At some point, they got to have it to where, because I think Jeff Wilson got hurt, and I think Amari Cooper also got hurt. Where you can just they can do an algorithm where you get an alert and you're like, okay, let's put somebody in off my bench, and whatever counts towards them counts towards the thing. Because I hate that when I'm just like, I can't do it. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah. And again, Cooper and Wilson, if one of them plays a few more snaps, that's a difference,
Yeah, and Cooper was questionable going in. He's been sort of off and on all year. But I don't love running 2 wide receivers on the same team. And my backup for him would have been Josh Palmer, which would have given me the win. But I don't like running 2 wide receivers on the same team because I feel like you're either going to have a good game with one or the other, but you're never going to have, a good performance out of both. And so when Cooper was cleared to play, I thought, okay, well, we'll just keep him in. It'll be fine. And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with the concern over running teammates. I don't like running teammates at all. Even different positions. And your sister has absolutely proven me wrong on that theory this year with Josh Jacobs
Go Raiders.
and Devontae Adams.
Go Raiders.
I understand that concern.
Yeah, and Palmer, that was a weird matchup too because Keenan Allen was back and Justin Herbert's kind of been up and down, but Miami had I don't know what's going on with Miami, but they were not Miami. So
Tua turned back into a pumpkin, man. The most accurate, statistically speaking, passer in the league was all over the field, resulting in 145 yards and only one touchdown, and giving me only 12.6 points.
Oh yeah, you had him there. Okay, I see.
I had him. I started him.
Well, I'll say this: I don't blame Tua. I'm not blaming Tua on this one. This was Mike McDaniel's fault. Yeah, he just kept running plays to the middle of the field. I was like, run some different plays that aren't in the middle of the field. And I call him Beavis. He reminds me of Beavis from Beavis and Butthead, but he was looking down and being like, "Oh, I can't. I don't know. I just gotta keep throwing it in the middle. I thought he was good.
Well, that's where they
I thought he was gonna have a breakdown.
That's kind of where they've lived all season, and your Chargers did a terrific job of taking it away from them, and they couldn't adapt.
Yeah, like I said, McDaniels needed to adapt and run the ball. He didn't run. I think they only ran like 9 or 10 times, and that's not what you do. So,
yeah. From there, Tony Pollard stayed hot for me. The number 7 running back in fantasy football gave me 20 points off of only 42 rushing yards, but he did catch a touchdown and he ran for another one. So big day for Tony Pollard.
Tony, and they almost lost.
They did. Crazy game. They come from behind in the fourth quarter, but they did it.
Worst team in the Battle of Texas.
Yeah. Now the other interesting thing about our matchup this week is that it gave Jamar Chase an opportunity for a revenge game, and we all know that no receiver is going to miss the opportunity to try to go off against their former team. And Jamar gave me 10 catches for 119 and a touchdown. Caitlin, that couldn't have felt good to see.
Couldn't have performed like that earlier in the season, could you have, Jamar? Piece of shit.
Was this his debut? Well, was this his debut for you, Patton?
Second game back.
Okay.
He did catch a touchdown last week as well, but it only had a handful of catches and 70 yards or so. But look, I mean, it was a good trade in the whole. I mean, Jeff Wilson gave you a couple of really good games. It got you to a place where you were, you were in striking distance. Obviously, Clyde Edwards got hurt early, and Sutton got hurt too, I believe. So,
but
things.
Wilson Jr. did really sort of plug the hole in my running back issues. So, I'm not sad about the trade. I just, Jamar Chase couldn't have performed consistently earlier in the year, and then I wouldn't have traded him. No, got hurt. Mark Andrews may as well be hurt for me, and I don't wish it upon him, of course. But since Lamar's gone out, even before Lamar went out, it's just been a down year for the guy who's considered the 1A of tight ends, who's clearly now the 2 at best behind Kelsey. Very tough year for Mark Andrews so far. Yeah, that's weird because I had him last year and he was really consistent last year. So I don't know if it's just that the team has changed around him or if something happened and he's sort of lost some speed or what, but he's just not playing well.
I remember him on your squad last year. I think you used him to just beat me down in a game.
Beat the shit out of you. It was so good.
Yeah. I honestly, in all honesty, I remember thinking I got to pick up Mark Andrews next season. And, I decided to build my team through the tight end position this year. Took him in the second round instead of Kelsey because I thought Lamar Jackson was in for a monster year, which was going to equate to a monster year for him. And it just hasn't happened for either of them yet.
Yeah, I think Lamar's sad. So he's just not feeling it. Yeah. He's like Charlie Brown. Lucy keeps taking the ball from him, and he's like, I'm just going to go home now.
Well, I didn't have, Caitlin's 33 points on my bench, but I did leave Mike Williams in his 20.6 return to action on my bench. It would have been nice to have him in my starting lineup. Big day. Must have been good as a Charger fan, Mike D, to see big Mike Williams back.
It was fun. I'm actually more curious of your decision to leave Mr. Touchdown of the NFL, Jamal Williams, on your bench.
Well, it seemed to me at least that DeAndre was now healthy and was sort of taking over. He was really getting a lot more work. Jamal Williams is to the point where he does need to score a touchdown. He's not involved in the pass game at all. He needs to score a touchdown. And, look, I stand by my decision. He only had 37 yards. DeAndre only had, 21, but he got involved in the pass game. And there's a huge ceiling for him. I feel like DeAndre can break out and have a monster game any game. Whereas Williams, if I'm starting Jamal Williams, I'm just hoping that one of the Lions gets tackled within the 5-yard line so he can maybe fall into the end zone.
Yeah, that's true. So, it was a shootout, I feel like
the scheme is a little out of Williams these days. Wish I'd have started his teammate. You know what I mean? His quarterback. He had that great matchup, but I'm thinking, hey, I got Tua. I'm going to roll with Tua. But Jared Goff lighting scoreboards up in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he has some weapons now with Mr. Jameson Williams back, and he's got a lot of wide receiver weapons. And he was not a. I mean, he got to the Super Bowl. Yeah,
where I'm going.
People give him a hard time because of. And he did a smart thing this year because he was on Hard Knocks twice. And when he was on with the Rams, I think he got a bad rap of kind of like your typical quarterback, and you don't really know, wearing flip-flops and playing golf in Thousand Oaks. And what's going on, man? Why are you yelling at me, Sean? I'm just trying to play football.
Yeah.
Sean McVay yelled at him quite a bit. Like he was like his little brother or something. What are you doing? Why'd you throw that pass? I don't know. What were you doing in my room? So this year he said nothing for the Detroit. He just barely said a word on Hard Knocks, and he's having a good.
Yeah, you didn't see much of him on Hard Knocks. Not at all.
Yeah. Screw you, Rams 3 and whatever. I guess they got Baker and they won. Forgot about that.
Yeah, so it's all good now. The Rams they're fine now. They're turning it around. That's the matchup that was. Caitlin, heartbreaker, absolute heartbreaking loss. Tough way to not only lose a week, but be kept out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That always sucks. I thought I was going to get out, but I got lucky. But let's just say this. I'm only in the playoffs, and I'm in 6 leagues. I'm only in the playoffs in 2 of them, so.
That's fantasy football.
Yeah,
indeed. But you're in the one that matters. That's for sure. Good game, Caitlin. Good game. I tell you what, we've mentioned this in various times throughout the season, and I imagine it might be a little late to institute a policy of this magnitude. We might hear from certain members of the league when we try to do things like that. I would like to have. Rules. What's that?
Yeah, if our one viewer is listening, please post a comment so we can talk about league changes.
Yeah, Parker specifically doesn't like changing rules mid-season.
I get that. I would be in favor of, and would have always been in favor of, making the consolation championship the first round pick, the first draft pick next season. But I understand that it's kind of late to do something like that now.
Well, bring it up next year. We can argue about it for a solid week in August and then figure it out from there.
Exactly.
I like the sound of that. I look forward to it. So that was our matchup. Caitlin, good game. Again, heartbreaker. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Will you be joining us for the rest of the podcast?
I am going to bounce, but I did want to share. Christy is at a work drinks, but wanted me to tell you that Noah Fant and the entirety of the Viking defense are useless little bitch babies.
I love it. All right. You heard it here live. You heard it here live.
Thank you, Christy, for contributing to the show. Please tell her I look forward to inevitably meeting her in the playoffs at some point.
Will do. Good luck.
Yes. All right.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Treasurer, for joining us, and we'll see you. Good luck next week, and we'll see you soon.
We'll see you later. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
We added another viewer.
Hello, viewer. Once news got out that Caitlin had joined the show, obviously the ratings were going to skyrocket. It's not surprising at all.
Leave your comments.
So let's move on, Mikey.
Where are we going next?
Let's cover the game that decided the last playoff entrant, and that was Team Jones versus Herbert Rides Again. That's Curtis versus our co-host Grant Peterson.
Out of the country.
Yeah, Grant, we're thinking about you, buddy. We know that you're in Amsterdam, and they won't let you leave until you give up all of your treats. But we hope you get back soon.
Yeah, if you're watching, I see 2 viewers. Please post something and tell us that you're safe. And that maybe you had trouble adjusting your lineup. We'll get into the game now and to see if that was true.
Now we don't know if Mike D, if either of those viewers are international, because I suppose that would help us determine if it were Grant.
That's true.
Yeah,
Grant is big in Europe.
So with Caitlin losing, that opened the door to one of these guys. It meant whoever won this matchup was going to be the 6th and final playoff competitor in our league. And that went to Team Jones by an overwhelming margin, 123.86 to 97.28.
I'm getting into the playoffs no matter what.
Yeah. Curtis was led like he often is by King Henry. Derrick Henry with 121 yards and a touchdown, despite 2 fumbles, still gave Kurt 19 points.
Yep. Herbert, Tannehill. I was surprised. I think Tannehill was questionable, if I'm not certain, but they didn't.
Well, whether you're healthy or not, Tannehill's always a little questionable. I mean, am I wrong? Come on, Mike.
I think this is a must-win. It was a must-win. That's a bad loss. That's a bad loss to Jacksonville. Were there any other Jacksonville players involved? No.
Yeah, Duval County was proud about that one. They looked pretty good against the Titans. Josh Allen just hammered Derrick Henry to cause one of those aforementioned fumbles. One of the biggest hits you'll ever see. No. A guy that size getting hit, it shakes you to your core, man. And then baby Henry, Deontay Foreman only gave 74 yards, turned in 8 fantasy points, but it was Tyreek Hill doing more Tyreek Hill things. Tua didn't have a lot of completions, but 4 of them went to Tyreek, and it resulted in 81 yards and a touchdown.
No, I gotta in my other league, I was going against Tyreek Hill, and I had Tua. And quickly in the chat room, I would be pissed because that was one of the craziest touchdowns I've ever seen. Ball pops out of a pile right to Tyreek Hill. He's like, "Oh, here we go." Yes. But that would not count in PPR. It would just count as 6 points. You wouldn't get the yardage. So my buddy was like, "I'd be pissed if that was a PPR touchdown." But yeah, that was a strange game to watch. But Tyreek Hill, I didn't think he was even going to do anything, but the ball rolled his way, you could say.
Yeah, really smart, really aware of what was going on. There were a couple other, Chargers who could have pounced on it, but they were kind of looking the other way or doing something else, and they thought it had already been recovered. And right place, right time for the fastest guy in the field to get the ball with nobody, really knowing it.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
And you knew he was kind of hurt because he kind of was. He's going half speed. He was just going half speed. He's like, "I'll slow down. That's faster than normal. That's faster than normal. My half speed's faster than normal people."
He's still dusting everybody. His half speed would probably be like a bronze medal in a lot of Olympic competitions.
Exactly.
Devontae Smith, pardon me, for the Eagles gave Curtis 5 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. That Philly offense is tough to stop, Mike D. 48 points on the Giants.
Yeah, spread around the ball. I was excited to see Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, not to be forgotten. I'll not forget that he won the Heisman Trophy. But Jalen Hurts spreads the ball around with the Eagles, because that's the big question this week: is he's the MVP or is it the team? But 48-22. I think it's a bunch of people.
It is a bunch of people. Yeah, no matter what Micah Parsons wants to say, it's he wants to get them riled up. That's Micah Parsons says some things and then he tries to walk them back sometimes. It's not the first time Micah Parsons this week has spoken up and then maybe wish he hadn't. But you don't see that a lot. You don't see Micah Parsons talking too much outside of the field. That sort of changed this week. Freiermuth, Pat Freiermuth filled in at the tight end spot. I think, Kurt also had a lot of guys on bye this week. He was missing Scary Terry. He's missing A-Raj. He's missing Mooney from Chicago. So he was also fighting that the bye-mageddon this week.
Yeah, both looks like both benches besides Montgomery. Oh yeah, wow. Team Jones, 1, 2, 3 guys on buys.
Yeah,
but
wasn't easy, but he got the 11 points from the defense, 11 points from the kicker, the exact same as Grant. Actually, they canceled each other out, it was a good overall team performance. Everybody in his lineup was in double digits except for Pickens and Foreman, and they were damn close. So. Good, solid team effort from Team Jones this week.
Yeah, Team Jones, you needed it right when you needed to get into the playoffs. You started the right guys, no question. Even Deontay Johnson on the bench has struggled this year, so made the right choice. And now you're in. And I guess if Grant was here, I'd ask him, Kirk Cousins or Herbie rides again.
You wouldn't have to ask him, Mike D, because as anyone who knows who watches this show, that's Grant's weekly, torment. Is it? Do I trust Cousins? Do I look for Herbert? Is he finally healthy? Does he have his weapons? It's always a struggle for Grant, and this week was no change. And I mean, look, Herbert goes for 367. You're going to be happy with that until you see that Kirk Cousins went for 425.
Yeah, so. And we did text with Grant while he was there, and I believe like the Sunday night game was started at 2:30 in the morning. So he was watching all the Sunday games at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So that was interesting.
He would not be deterred. Not at all. It's good. Another question we would probably ask Grant is if he was considering his flex. How much of a debate was he thinking between Matt Collins and Juju? Juju Smith-Schuster ended up giving him 17 points, whereas Matt Collins only had 2 catches for 22 yards.
Yeah. I knew Juju was going to be due at some point, and today or Sunday was the day. And he also had the Deshaun Watson question, and that's come up quite a bit this week. He's going to be rusty. He hasn't played in 2 years. Well, guess what?
Right.
Baker Mayfield hasn't played. He just showed up to a team and won. Hey, Brock Purdy hasn't played ever. Showed up and won. So, hey, Deshaun Watson, if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't.
There it is. That's a hot take, man. You might get. We might be hearing from Deshaun via Twitter at some point. How would he do that, Mike D? Where would Deshaun look for you on Twitter if he wanted to say something?
At podcast at Mike D on Twitter. Right. Twitter handle.
All right. Better at him, bro. Yeah. Better at him.
I'm sure he's not on. He's probably not on Twitter anymore, but
hey, we know there's a couple people. He may be taking a break from Twitter. He might not be starting any Twitter fights these days.
No Twitter fights. Come on, Deshaun.
Yeah. Well, all right. Getting back to our guys here. Grant had I got the wrong. This is not Grant's team. I got the wrong one up. Pardon me. There it is. Yeah, Grant got a big day from Eckler, as he always does. The number 2 running back in the game gave him 20 points, 20 fantasy points. Adam Thielen had a nice game. It wasn't 97 points will win you a lot of games. It wasn't a bad game for Grant. He just didn't have enough to keep up with Kurt.
Yeah, wasn't. That Minnesota team is interesting, their record wise, and didn't show up. I've been listening to their head coach speak after games, and he's young, son of an FBI agent.
Okay.
And you guys got I did start watching Hard Knocks, by the way, and
oh, good.
And it sounds like I think I don't know, I can't remember his name, Sean from the Vikings, I think, has more command than Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, I would be just like, whatever, bro. Go back to your house and look at the mountain and try to think about hiking that mountain out of your house that you live in by yourself. I call him Captain Obvious. Hey guys, let's do better. Stop making mistakes. Let's get the fuck going. All right, see you guys. I'm going back to my house. You guys, take care. Take care.
Hey guys, something happened in Mexico with one of the coaches. Our bad. Never gonna happen again. Let's move on.
And then he just leaves. He leaves the room. And you're like, where are you going, dude? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know, man.
All right. I'm full of hot takes. I'm drinking wild turkey. Here we go. And we're live. I love live productions.
Never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Grant, unfortunately, got bounced from the playoffs this week. That's what he got. He had a chance. The winner of this game was in, and it didn't happen for him. It was Team Jones this week.
Yeah, and congratulations. And sorry, Grant, you didn't make the playoffs, but I'm sure you enjoying the views and the canals and of Europe, so you're probably not too disappointed.
Can't imagine.
Team Jones.
And even though you don't have a spot in the playoffs, Grant, you will always have a spot on this program, and please don't forget that.
Yeah, everybody does. We're up to 3 viewers. Hello, viewers. Thanks for watching.
Oh, look, it's like wildfire. It's like a snowball just going downhill, man. We can't be stopped now. I will not echo your sentiments of wishing Team Jones luck in the playoffs. However, as I do draw him in the first round next week, so I wish him no luck whatsoever.
Okay. I love it.
All right, so moving on from that game, let's go check out the game that decided the number 2 seed, and that was a game you were involved with, Mike D. That was Team Parker. You have since changed your name to the Many Saints of Newark, which is a title I quite enjoy, but a movie I thought was just garbage. We can talk about that. We can not talk about that. Either way, it's fine with me. What was your team name last week, though, Mike D?
Leaving Las Vegas Raiders.
Possibly my favorite team name of the entire season.
Yeah, and I went up against I took the Raiders. I guess this is back-to-back naming my teams after defenses that I picked up randomly.
I like it.
I was not overly excited about because I knew it was going to come down to Waddle. And what I was watching, and I almost went to that game. Actually, I almost went there and watched the game. But when I watched, I was like, okay, Waddle just needs a good, couple touchdowns, break off a long one, and I'm good. But that didn't happen. And then, of course, Brandon Ayuk played well. Got his Deebo Samuel went down, and then it was the Brandon Ayuk. I heard he waited forever with Brock Purdy's long pass. He waited there, counted the times, and then it came down. He scored a touchdown. So,
yeah, I wasn't watching the game live, but that sounds like something.
Yeah, so I knew I was in trouble. But it was kind of one of those free games since I was already in the playoffs. Wasn't, I still was like, okay, I'm taking this as like a mock game because I'm down a tight end. Now I have to wait and see what Darren Waller's going to do. It's going to be a game time decision, so I have a few in my pocket to put in there, but it's going to be tough. I'm nervous.
Yeah, you were already in the playoffs. Your seeding, was movable, but you weren't going to get one of the buys. You weren't going to get one of the top 2 seeds, so you didn't have a lot to gain. You had nothing to lose, and you're not complaining about your guys on a bye week, but if you had been, Parker would not want to hear about it. Because look at Parker. Parker had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys on a bye this week. That's tough, true. Man. I mean, that's true. A lot of them are from the same team. He's got 3 Packers, so that's going to happen sometimes. But that's tough.
Yeah, he's rolling with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon and Watson. But pizza slice, Bruce Parker, congratulations. Got the number second overall, right? Second seed.
Yeah, so that was Parker's with Parker's victory, he gets the second overall seed and a first round bye, leapfrogging Christie, who lost her matchup, and scoring. He's tied with me at 9-5, but Parker outscored me by about 22 points or so for the season. So Parker gets the number 2 seed and is already in the Final Four.
Yeah, I guess that was a big game. That's you want to play for a bye so you can take a deep breath in case there's any injuries. You got some guys that can come back and see how.
Oh, that's great having that bye week. It's great.
I'm going all in.
You just kick back. You don't have to worry about it. It's great. But yeah, Parker's got to be feeling good about this victory. Look, when you get 3.2 from one running back, 2.0 from another. His 2 starting running backs gave him 5.2 points total. Gabe Davis only gave him 4 points, but he survives because he gets a huge day from Jalen Hurts, 3 total touchdowns, including 1 rushing. DJ Chark fills in with a big 94-yard game. Njoku stays hot. He got enough from the guys that stepped up for him.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, I kept an eye on the matchup. So it really came down to Waddle versus Ayuk, and Ayuk won. So yeah, you deserve that bye.
It looks like Saquon's running out of steam a little bit. Barkley, McCaffrey played really well for you this week, but looks like Saquon. I don't know if he's hitting the wall or what, but he just hasn't looked like himself lately. He was questionable coming into the game.
Yes, he had some neck problem happened in practice, but they got their asses kicked. So it's not 22-48. They're not looking. They're one of those teams that look great and then they're falling back to earth.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got to feel good about McCaffrey, though. He seems to be, there are times when they just want to unleash him, they can, and he'll have a 200 scrimmage yard kind of game basically anytime he wants. It's just a matter of whether or not Shanahan's going to let him off the leash.
And I think he is now, because that's what I was on the verge of trading him to get to maybe a tight end and somebody else. But as soon as I read the reports that pretty much every running back and then Mitchell's back in, but he's hurt, that they're just going to give him the ball, roll with it. You got a rookie quarterback. Garoppolo goes down, so they're going to rely heavily now. Deebo Samuel's out, but they keep winning. So I guess Shanahan is a good coach, even though I don't know how he does it. I don't know if he's Tony Hawk. I don't know who he is half the time, whether he's got his flannel on and he's being cool. I don't know, with his hat down and his cool hat. And
if he's wearing a birdhouse T-shirt on the sideline next week, I'm going to be very confused.
I wouldn't recognize him if he was at a skate park. I'd be like, are you Tony Hawk or are you Kyle Shanahan? Which one are you, man?
All right, so Team Parker gets the 9-point victory, and as a result, the number 2 seed and a bye next week and an automatic berth in the Final Four. Congratulations, Team Parker.
Yes, congratulations on your bye week.
Parker was
what are you
the
gonna do?
number
Yeah, see Parker. If you're listening, or you're gonna watch it later, send in. And what are you gonna do on your week off? Where are you gonna go? Gonna drink?
Yeah.
Gonna
Send
watch a
us some
movie?
pictures from Bahamas, wherever you go
Yeah,
for the bye week, and
yeah. You can watch film.
you and Zeke, you and Ezekiel Elliott down in Cabo together. I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever you want to do.
yeah. You're gonna meet up with Odell. He's not playing this year. You might hang out.
Odell's got some time to kill.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to back-to-back versus Team CT. That was the number one going into last week. That was the number one team in the league versus the number two team in the league. Christy had a lot on the line in this game. Had she won, she would have been the number one seed. She would have been the number one overall seed in the tournament and had that bye week. But with the loss, she falls down to the number 4 seed and now has to fight it out like the rest of us. So
with me, I believe I'm matched up with her, so I would have rather not have. That would not be my dream matchup.
Yes. Well, it's unfortunate we can't pick our opponents in the playoffs, but once you get to the playoffs, you're going to be facing someone who scored a lot of points in the regular season one way or another. Christie's one way she scored a lot of points in this particular game was her quarterback. Huge game from Surfer Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if there's that. I don't think there's any truth to that, Mike D. But every time I see Trevor, I just think, "Oh, bro, he just looks like one of Spicoli's buddies to me."
Yeah, it's true. He works at the burger place. Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's not in the bathroom thinking about somebody coming out of a pool in a bikini.
Right. He needs to be delivering fish to those fellows over at IBM.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Arnold.
But yeah, Trev goes for 368 and 4 total touchdowns. Huge game in that big Jacksonville win.
Yeah, that was surprising. He played well. I wasn't thinking that he was going to. He hasn't had really. That was a big game. They needed to win that. So, and he came up after being hurt and he hit some guys. And that was a beautiful catch by Zay Jones, who, I mean,
that was beautiful. That was one of the catches of the year.
I was hoping it was Kurt.
Yeah. Grass.
Yeah. Former Raider.
As we learned earlier from Christy's sister Caitlin, who was kind enough to join us. Christy was less than thrilled, I think, is the takeaway I came away with. Less than thrilled with the performance that she got from her tight end, Noah Fan. Not so fantastic.
0 and a -6 from the Vikings. But hey, John, if you're listening, how do you feel about being the first seed going into the playoffs if you're one of the 3 viewers? But no, -6 like for the Vikings. And that Seahawks game was disappointing for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you can't think you're going to get a big number from your Vikings defense against Detroit, right? I mean, but -6, that's tough to come back from. Those Raiders were those Raiders. Those Raiders are doing big things. They've been doing big things for Christy all season. Josh Jacobs, 99 and a touchdown. Devontae didn't get in the end zone, only 3 catches and 71 yards. So not a huge day for the former number 1 wide receiver.
No, it's hard to do when Baker's taking up all the time. Going 98 yards and not
on your Baker rate. It's all about you just pivot to Baker any chance you get this week, Mike D. You're just pivoting right to Baker. Are you going to claim him off of waivers? That's the vibe I'm getting from you here.
No, I've been doing
are you starting Baker Mayfield in the playoffs?
Baker Mayfield is I have a theory. I have a conspiracy theory. He has to be he has to be released. I believe he talked to Shanahan, and I believe he talked to McVay. And I think McVay said, hey, come on over. Here's the playbook, wink, wink, a couple days before.
And what did Shanahan say? How the hell did you get my phone number?
Yeah. Don't call me. You're not coming here. Tom Brady's coming here next year. Just
it.
go away.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it was. It seemed like he, like a made for TV movie, Lifetime movie with young Baker as the lead actor.
Yeah, next season, the Niners are going to have a quarterback platoon between Brady and Aaron Rodgers, because these old quarterbacks, we got to just look at that and be like, look at this Purdy kid, look what Garoppolo did in this offense. I mean, come on.
I mean, the Texans are doing it. They almost beat the Cowboys, so come on.
There you go. So on the other side of the ball, Apted put up 124 points, and you're looking at his team and you're wondering how. He started Tyler Huntley at quarterback. That was gutsy, let me just say. I mean, he didn't have a lot to play for this week. Apted was going to get a bye one way or the other. But starting Baltimore Ravens backup, Tyler Huntley at quarterback, and it only resulted in 6.62 points for Apted.
I like Apted. Give him a tryout to Huntley. Hey, let's see what you got. Get in the game. Might need you.
Yeah, gave him a shot.
Mike White took a shot. I mean, I thought his whole body was broken, but yeah. And he lost. He lost.
What's that?
Yeah, he lost. And Lamar, he lost because he lost Lamar. So yeah, going into the playoffs without Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I would pick up his backup and see what it could do. But I think he got hurt himself. I think a young man out of the University of Oregon showed up and played, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, I didn't know he was in the league."
Yeah. So you're wondering, he starts his quarterback and his top running back only give him 12 points together, but then you look down the lineup and you see Justin Jefferson and you see Jerry Jeudy. Jefferson does what Jefferson does, man. 11 catches and 223 yards. That's an incredible stat line. But then Jerry Jeudy scores 3 touchdowns. Apted's got a little bit of King Midas to him. You insert someone into his lineup and the guy goes off.
Yeah, you got Jerry Jeudy, and to be honest, Justin Jefferson's kind of not super consistent, which is weird to say that Justin Jefferson's not super consistent with fantasy points, but Jerry Jeudy and a rock and roll, throw the ball, Russell Wilson hurt, ripping. So take it when you get it, and you didn't even need it. You didn't even need it.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of taking it where you can get it, here are some of Justin Jefferson's yardage totals over the year. He had a 184, a 147, a 154, a 193, a 139, and a 223. And mixed in are some definitely pedestrian performances. But when he hits big, man.
Yeah.
Can't call him boom or bust. I don't think we're going that far, but it's like boom or sonic boom, with him.
Exactly. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. So it was a sonic boom this week, and Apted needed it. You couple that with 15 from your Kansas City defense, and you're feeling pretty good.
KC with Kelsey and no negative points. So, and you're out without Kenneth Walker, and so and now you have Jameson Williams. You got another weapon on your bench with Jameson Williams. So his first catch is a bomb from Goff wide open, and he just freaked out, ran around the stadium, gave the ball to his.
I think he's still at the field, like looking for fans to high five. I think it was like a giveaway. It was like, the first 10,000 fans in attendance got a high five from Jameson Williams. Like, this kid was so pumped up, and good for him. I mean, he hurts himself in the national championship game. Doesn't get on the field until the week before, and then his first NFL reception is like a 70-yard touchdown. That's good for him.
Yeah, no, 100%. So go celebrate.
Yeah. Speaking of celebrating, you got to think that's what Apted's going to spend his bye week doing. The defending champion in our league went wire to wire as the first place team in this season. Incredible regular season for Apted. Cheers to you, John. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
and just know that none of it means a fucking thing anymore, because we've begun the second season. We've become the playoffs, and that is what history remembers, John. So congratulations, but now you got to do it when it counts, like you did last season. We'll see if you can do it this season as well.
Better not go to Cabo on your bye week.
Where would you go on your bye week, Mike D? If you weren't playing this week, where would you take the team to let the boys blow off some steam?
I think we would go to probably Mexico or Hawaii, somewhere warm.
Okay. Give them a beach. Give the boys a beach to run around on.
Yeah.
Somewhere with a nice practice facility nearby so you can keep them sharp.
Yeah, let's not go to like the wherever it's snowing. Let's not go to Buffalo or upstate New York. Yeah, just take everyone to upstate New York where it's freezing.
Well, as tempting as a winter destination as upstate New York is, they'll have to fight that urge.
And why we're on the upstate New York, there are Saturday games this week, so 3 Saturday games if you remember to set your lineups. NFL starts on Saturday.
And the way I see it, if you're not paying attention to that, you don't belong in the playoffs anyway. So don't set your lineups. I don't care. You wake up on Sunday morning and you look at your lineup and you understand that you had a couple guys already play, and that's your damn fault.
That's all right.
It's the playoffs, Mike D. Why are you reminding people that it's Saturday games? Come on.
That's true.
All right, let's wrap up the week. We got one more game to go over. We saved the best for last. Team Fan versus Homer Alone. Justin's team. These are no offense to either of them, but these are two of the last place teams in the league, and there were no playoff implications on the line, but they both showed up and they both
Justin got
came
a win.
to play anyway. Justin got the win. Big win for Justin. It's been a tough season. He did name his team after Titanic last week, so that'll tell you the kind of season that how he feels about the season behind him. But he got in the Christmas spirit this week and went with Homer Alone and got the victory.
Travis Homer Alone. I like it. I like it.
I'm sure you do, Mike D. Being the Seattle Seahawks fan that you are, you got to like the nod to the running back out there in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, you had a good game. At least you didn't get. At least you're 4-10. You're not like Ford or 3-10-1. You tied or
no ties
like
this year, Justin. Feel good about that, buddy. Feel
no
good
ties
about that.
This year.
I'll tell you something to feel good about, and I'm sure it feels great for Justin. He got 19 points from his defense, which is going to feel good to any fantasy football manager, but especially when it's from your team. And as we all know, the Patriots are Justin's team, and they gave him 19 points in his fantasy matchup. That's got to feel good.
Patriots, and you had your Nick Folk,
and the kicker, 30 from the Patriots. That's good for Justin. He's got to feel good about that.
Yeah, you got to feel good about it, and then you get your team gets a win, but yet everyone's questioning Matt Patricia and what the hell he's doing. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I'd love to see them on Hard Knocks. As good as the Cardinals are, and as good as it's about to get, even better. Yeah. No offense, and again, I'm not taking any pleasure in Kyler Murray getting hurt, but man, that show just is gonna spike with drama now. But speaking of drama, there wasn't. Speaking of New England players, Hunter Henry gave Justin another 8.5 points. And when you're looking for a streaming tight end, frankly, you'll take 8.5 points and be pretty happy about it.
Yeah, no, Hunter Henry showing up at the last minute. It's Hunter Henry, and former Charger. So glad to see him playing well.
Absolutely.
You got Brown and
CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, not a big game for Justin's wide receivers. The Sun God, St. Brown, only had 6 catches for 68 yards. Not a bad game, but when you don't get in the end zone for fantasy football purposes, it hurts.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing now that Goff has another weapon. I was like, wow. Interesting. Something to think
Oh,
about.
that team is so loaded. I mean, look, if I'm Lamar Jackson, if I'm, one of these guys who's looking for looking around the league and saying what team and, do I make a Super Bowl contender? I look at Detroit. I really do.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean,
I agree.
I think about the Vikings too, but Kirk Cousins is doing his thing, and Goff is too. You can't really, Goff is playing great, but you just wonder what it would look like with Lamar in that offense.
Oh, for sure.
Dameon Pierce, the rookie running back, has had a big year for Justin. He turned in 11 points, did fumble once, but also got in the end zone. So it had a nice day.
Yep. You got
on the other side of on the other side of the ball, though, for Chris, it was tough going from the quarterback position. Derek Carr, Mike D, I don't know what to make of Derek Carr. We talk about weapons, right? I mean, he's got, the best wide receiver in the game. He's got one of the best running backs in the game. When he's healthy, he's got one of the best tight ends in the game. This offense is potent, but, is Derek Carr good enough for it?
I don't know. And it's kind of sad when you think that they're already talking about, they are going to have to cut him at the end of the season just for contract purposes and money purposes. But pretty much everyone's saying if they want to reunite Tom Brady with his former offensive
Sure.
guru. So maybe Derek Carr's time's up.
I mean, if you're Brady at this point, or with everything that's happened, I mean, you're getting divorced and all that. Do you just say, all right, well, I'm just going to keep playing now? I mean, what the hell? His family was the whole reason he was not going to play, and now he's losing his wife. What's keeping him?
Let's go to Vegas.
Right? What the hell?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. That'll be very interesting because I don't know. I don't get it with Derek Carr. I drafted Derek Carr in this league, thinking that he would be at the very least a serviceable quarterback from week to week with this, driving the sports car that is this potent offense. But he is only the 17th ranked quarterback in our league.
No, I agree. I thought he would have a much better year. So this is a failure.
Yeah. You cannot say that about Miles Sanders. I feel like Miles Sanders has exceeded any expectations I had for him, and really, solidified himself as a serious top-notch running back in this league. 144 yards and 2 touchdowns this week, resulting in 28 fantasy points.
Yeah. Way to go, Miles. And you got a great offensive line that are opening up holes where you can just run through, take your time. And I think that's the difference this year, from 0 touchdowns to scoring 2 or 3 touchdowns a game.
Yeah, I mean that same line that Jalen Hurts runs behind is the one that Miles Sanders is running behind. So not surprising that it's translating to such good results.
Yep.
Tough thing to see Deebo Samuel get carted off the field. The reports are that it's not as bad as it looked, and he might be back. But did turn in 12.4 points for Kirk before getting injured on 4 catches, 43 yards and a rushing touchdown, and that is.
Yeah, 3 games are probably till the playoffs. So wish him a speedy recovery because you want to see him out there playing. Yeah,
for sure. I'm sure Chris would have also liked to have seen T. Higgins out there playing.
Yeah.
He got hurt early in the game, left out for only a few snaps, and turned in a goose egg for fantasy football purposes. A 0 from T. Higgins.
It's always tough to see those zeros.
And T had been, he had been performing really well too. I mean, with Jamar Chase out, as long as Joe Mixon is not scoring 9 touchdowns, Higgins seemed to be the guy a lot of weeks that Joe Cool was going to. Tough injury. I'm not sure what the injury was. Hope it was a quick one and he's back next week, but was not able to help Chris out this week.
Nope, and good job on not going with Murray. I mean, at least got 2 points out of Derek Carr, but
Yeah, Murray almost reached Derek Carr. That's how bad of a game Carr had. Kyler Murray got hurt after like 10 snaps, and he almost got to what Carr did in the entire game. But yeah, that's tough, man. That's real tough to watch that happen. I mean, the dude was sobbing in the tunnel. You see those non-contact injuries, and they don't like to speculate, but people are talking about him, being hurt well into next season as well.
Oh yeah, torn ACL like that. Yeah, this late in the season.
That's Rob. He was already kind of a nightmare season over there, and then this happens. My goodness. Chris certainly would have liked to have had James Conner in this one. 85 yards and a touchdown, 20 points on his bench. Hindsight is obviously 2020, but I'm sure he would have liked to have swapped out, maybe the 12 points that he got from Najee Harris instead.
Yeah, Najee played well. You got, and that was a kind of a surprise because I was listening to that game on the radio, and Connor went down for a while, and I was like, "Oh, Connor's out, and the Cardinals are falling apart." But he got back up and played, so he's ready to go.
Yeah, he does that. He gets up and then gets back in there. There's no doubt about that. That was the wrap up. That was Homer Alone gets the win, 100 points, 100.86 to 87.48. Justin ends the regular season on a high note. He'll now try to regroup and win the consolation bracket championship, which should results in the number one pick in next year's draft. But of course, we don't roll that way just yet. So maybe one of these years, but not next year. So one final look. Here we are we have reached the playoffs. What an exciting time of year this is. Mike D, what do you think about your first round matchup?
I don't like it. Wish it was not. I wish I was not facing Team CT. We face each other. She got the win. It's the Converse shoe against Tony Soprano. So we'll see. We'll see if I got all cylinders. I am starting Josh Allen, just so you know, because I feel like he's not going to have.
You heard it here first, folks. Breaking news
on live television or YouTube vision.
I'm going to start Jamar Chase. Just so everybody knows that, I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to start Jamar Chase, and I'm going to start AJ Brown also. So, and if anyone's wondering about that, leave no room for doubt. I'm going to go that route. Here's something interesting. When I was playing Caitlin, I realized before Monday night's game, again, as we already covered here extensively, I only needed about a point or two to defeat Caitlin going into Monday night.
Yeah.
Now, I thought about this because had Caitlin won that game, she would have been the number 6 seed, and I would have played her. And as much as I respect Caitlin, because she has been a force of nature in this league for many years, it's been a rough year for her, and her team is pretty banged up, and I would have rather played her than either Grant or Curtis. So the thought did go through my head that I could take this game, sit Ramondre Stevenson, lose the game, and and just throw a whole wrench into the playoff process. I did not because, as we also mentioned earlier, I was still in the running for a bye. So with a good enough week for Ramondre, I could have gotten the bye. And I also did learn, I hope I learned a long time ago, that when you try to manipulate things in fantasy football, the fantasy football gods do not like that, and they punish you for it. So
that's true.
I just decided not to.
That's true. That's a good piece of information right there. I like that.
It was a thought that ran through my head. I thought about the chaos that would have ensued, the cries of collusion if the commissioner tanks a game so the treasurer can get in. What would what would the people have said if their governors had acted that way? I couldn't allow it, Mike D.
Throwing the challenge flag, throw out the red flag.
Yeah. Oh, we'd have been hearing about it. We'd have been hearing about it from our co-host, maybe, and among others, because it would have denied Grant any chance of making the playoffs. So I couldn't do it. Mike D. But the thought ran through my head. Don't think that it didn't.
Well, I love it. It's it's week 15, 16, and 17, man. This is it.
This is it, man. This is time to separate the serious players from the novice. You know,
Now, are you
we're
going
gonna really
to change
get
your
into it
name,
here.
or what are you going to do? Are you
What's
going to
that, sorry?
Are you going to change your name rolling into the playoffs?
Oh, of course I'm going to change my name,
Okay.
Mikey. I change my name every week. There's no question about that. I will wait until Thursday. I'm narrowing the field right now. There's a couple of names I'm deciding between, team names, and we'll see what happens. You don't want to put the pressure on the wrong guy. If you name your team after a guy, it's putting a lot of weight on his shoulders. And now that we're in the playoffs, the spotlight shines a little brighter. So I don't want the wrong guy feeling the pressure,
Well, I'll feel I'm on my road to the championship. I have to go through back to back. So, John, I'll feel good if I do win the championship that I ran the tough route, and but I'm not feeling optimistic. So we'll see. Hopefully, Cole Beasley's Josh Allen's lucky charm out of retirement, signing with the Bills, just to suit up and to give Josh some much needed I don't know, whatever Josh Allen needs. God damn
it. Well, we all need something, Mike D. It'll be interesting to see. Either, will you and I, the only way you and I can face each other is in the championship game. The only way Christy and I can face each other is a championship game. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds.
Week 17, might have to make a trip to Portland, do a live, another live show from one of the theaters, four wall live for the championship. Number 21, Horse.
We could definitely make it happen. But you know what? Speaking of making it happen, Mike D, there's a lot of people who have made this show happen all season long, and we should thank them. We should thank the people behind the scenes who have made this possible. Thank you, first of all, because you were the driving force behind this podcast. So thank you for everything this season so far.
Yeah, thanks for having me in the league, and thanks for doing this. This has been fun, life-changing. I got way into podcasting just because of this. I was like, oh, wow, this is cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so thanks everybody, and watching and listening and just having fun. I even made a little this would be a good time, a little end credit. Everyone's names on there. This is if you also look, it's also written by Baker Mayfield, and Eric Patton and Russell Wilson also had this.
Well, when my agent said that Russell wanted to collaborate on a season, I had some reservations, Mikey, but I went in and I did it anyway. When it was a Baker Mayfield and Nathaniel Hackett screenplay, how do you say no to that? When producer Cliff Kingsbury tells you that Tom Brady is going to direct the film, how do you say no to that?
Tom has time. So Tom has time to do things. He can direct. He can direct a little podcast if he needs to.
Yeah. Well, to be continued, indeed, Mike D. That I couldn't have said it any better. To be continued is definitely the theme of tonight's show, and that's what I'm going away with.
Yep, to be continued, and we'll do this all the way through the championship. So, for those of you that did not make it, there's this next year. You can already start planning. There's always there's never an off season. Yeah,
there's a lot of trash to be talked. There is no prize currently for the consolation bracket. If you want us to circumvent all sort of governance and just implement the rule that the winner of the consolation bracket gets the number one pick in next year's draft, let us know. Email us. Get involved. Let's get some social, some civil activity going here, folks.
Yes, let's have a meeting. We'll meet in Vegas. We'll have some league meetings in Las Vegas.
I love it. Some hot stove. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mike D, thank you once again. Good luck next week to you. Good luck to everyone in the Laemmle League, except for Team Jones, of course.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining this live broadcast, this live special, and we'll see you again next week. All right, everybody.